It is January 10th. We have made it this far. We still have a few moves of stockpiled forage left. Not a lot, of course not. It'd be crazy to think there'd be a lot of grass in January. I don't see anybody else with any livestock that are really just grazing grass. These guys are getting a little hay in the morning and at night. Not nearly what the recommendation would be, but I'm still primarily feeding them on probably fescue orchard grass. This is my breeding pair. This is the first two goats I picked. I didn't know what I was getting into. The Lord just blessed me with difficulty early on. Because if you have a cakewalk early on and then difficulty 5 years in, you might give up. But if you have difficulty in the beginning and you persevere through it, well, the future gets easier and easier, right? You know, as the economy of scale and experience are factored into your operation. So this was a culled dairy nanny that was living in a meat herd, and she probably had mastitis that was left alone severely, not to where she had an amputation, but where she's got a really jacked up udder, a terrible bag, a bad ligament. So she's just not a quality dairy goat. She's a Kiko Saanen cross. So a Saanen is a Swiss milk goat, a high volume milk goat, large frame, high volume, and a Kiko is a feral New Zealand goat. And the benefit of the Kiko is that it's never been doctored, so any member of that species that didn't have parasite resistance just died. Well, if you're dead, you don't reproduce, so the reproducers have parasite resistance, which is why I'm all for letting nature take its course. And if an animal has to die, let it die. Don't go crazy doctoring it. Your breeding stock, in my opinion, should be very hardy. They should be survivalists. That's what I want to see multiply more than anything. So I took this full frame dairy nanny who, even with a messed up udder, she's able to wean twins and triplets without help. Phenomenal mothering skills. Now she's right now she's kind of brownish, just that time of year, but in the summertime she'll go really white. Her winter coat gets a little more brown. She doesn't have a real thick winter coat, but she's got the right color for sunshine. Now this guy here, he is a Kiko boar, and he came from a herd with a bunch of sickness. And I mean, there was like 3 sick animals there. It was just the cheapest male. I needed a companion for her. He was like 120 bucks. I brought him home in my lap. I didn't care. I figured if he dies, he dies. Just let's get through today, was kind of my mentality. And he's got a really good winter coat. He's just got a fantastic winter coat. He is fine in terms of his reproductive capacity. He's got plenty of testosterone, let's put it that way. But what he produced in the offspring, the dominant color came from her, but the coat thickness came from him. So he's got nice shaggy thick legs, you know, thick fur on his legs. She's got thick fur on her legs. The baby does. Now I need to pause and add in right here that the purpose for my color selection is multifaceted. You want a thick hide for winter, which I'm in one of these climates that we do have, you know, below freezing, sometimes for days. We do have harsh potential winters, but primarily we have pretty much a guarantee of sometimes harsh summers. Now, the lighter the color of the fur, the better the animal sheds heat in the summertime. But the thicker the fur, the better the animal stays warm in the winter. So you want a coat that's thick, that slicks off well in the summer. But you don't necessarily want a black animal. You know, black cows don't perform under heat conditions as well as red ones or white ones, for instance. And one more factor is that the market for selling goats is in large part, especially meat goats, is a religious sacrifice. So that is primarily an ethnic market, whether that be to Muslims or Jews. And there is a consideration for the color white, as in unblemished, spotless, and so forth, the unblemished lamb. You know, a white goat has religious symbolism, so that can therefore command a higher value. So that's the reason why I'm trying to get this cross of several different features. I had twins a buckling and a doeling, and I did have to sell the buckling, and I let him go cheap. I didn't want to, but I just couldn't have him. I couldn't have the 2 bucks fighting over the girls, so I had to let him go. I know where he went. Maybe in the future I'll buy him back. You know, she's a little timid, unlike her mama. Her mama doesn't mind being. Her father wants to sit in my lap, but her mom is in the middle, and she's a little timid. But anyway, she's got a good thick hair coat on her legs. She's a chubby little one, but she's got the right color for summer, and she's got the right coat for winter. So temperature performance wise, she's got both seasons down pat, and I'm really happy with that. Really, really happy. She's never been doctored, never been sick. I'm really anxious to see how well her bag turns out and how her mothering skills are, how well she is at delivering. I'm hoping she only has a single. This is her first year. I don't want to have her do twins. This will be my first time having 2 mothers in the same, in the same shed. When they deliver, I'll confine them to a shed for a while, and they'll just get hay, but you're really not seeing any feed on them. They're pretty darn fat for winter and not being on a pile of corn and grain. I'm pretty, I dare say, proud. I don't want to get proud about anything. God says to be humble, but I am very pleased with the outcome, and I'm thankful that the Lord led me to the information he led me to, and the hardships he led me to, and the difficulties and the things that I've learned in the process, and the outcome has been fruitful. So here's a little bit of encouragement. This is a strip of grass next to the road in front of my house. Literally, this is the ditch, and I could probably graze this for 3 days, 3 maybe 4 days, with just hay in the morning and hay at night. And the purpose of the hay is just to get rumination for maintaining body temp. Right, big boy? Thanks for watching. God bless you, and praise the Lord.